What's going on, guys? Arrow here, and guys, with all of the Pokemon Sun and Moon news that we got on Monday, there's still a lot of things that people are talking about, and the big thing that a lot of people are talking about are Pokemon Sun and Moon leaks. And while there were so many leaks on Pokemon Sun and Moon that I wanted to talk about with you guys, it was during the time where I was on vacation, and so I couldn't talk with you guys about them. But since a lot of people are talking about these leaks again because of all the new information that just came out, I figured I'd take the time to go through all these leaks and talk about them with you guys as well, and give you guys my thoughts and opinions on them. So while I was looking online, I actually found this really good image that someone was able to make of every single relevant leak, and basically all the information that was correct that we were able to receive from the leaks, and everything that was incorrect. So a big thank you goes to whoever made this image. I don't know, I couldn't find any sort of source, but yeah, whoever made this image, yeah, big thank you to you guys. So the first leak that I really want to talk with you guys about is the leak that you probably already seen, and it's called the concept art leak. And so this was basically posted on June 4th by an anonymous poster, and it shows these pictures of what assumed to be the Alola region starter Pokemon's final evolution. And while there's still nothing to confirm this, a lot of people are suggesting that these were going to be the Alola starters because these images were starting to become removed from certain websites when they were posted. So when certain websites were reporting on these images, and while people were searching for these images, they soon started to disappear from search results and stuff. And that's what a lot of people were, leaning towards the credibility for this image, as maybe Nintendo or Game Freak wanted the image to become removed. Because if you guys remember, when Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS was leaked a few years ago, when the entire roster was leaked, Nintendo obviously didn't want to keep those images, or not the images, they didn't want to keep all those videos and all that footage up, so they would try to take down those images, and any news websites that would report on stuff like that, they would try to just get them to not put those images up. And so seeing that those images were trying to be removed from the search results does seem to lean towards the credibility for this image. But especially from the news that we just got on Monday, this image seems to be very real. And the only reason I'm saying that is because if we look really closely to where it shows us Litten's final evolution, we can see that next to Ash is a girl sitting there with a flower on her head and a really unique hairstyle. And this is the exact description of Mallow, who was shown to us in the August 1st trailer. And this description is pretty much spot on. I mean, like, if you look at her, she pretty much matches the same exact girl that we see in that picture. I mean, she's got shorts on, she's got the flower in her head, and even her hairstyle is pretty much exactly perfect. Like, she's got the same tuft on her head, she's got the same type of hairstyle on the back. Like, it's really hard to convince someone that that's not the same person. And considering how this was posted in June, I mean, I'm really thinking that this image is most likely going to be real now. Like, how would someone already know what Mallow is going to look like in June? We just got her shown to us in August, so it really looks like this image might just be real. If these starter evolutions are exactly like what they're going to be in this image here, I mean, I'm a little I'm alright with them. I don't really like how Poplio's final evolution looks like. I mean, to be honest, it looks like it's not really that good at all. Rowlet's evolution, I don't really like how its face looks like. I do like the whole concept of it though, like how it's able to make a bow and arrow with its wing. I think that's a really unique thing for it. I just don't like how that face looks. Litten's evolution, I mean, I like how it looks, but I mean, it's not really what I expected. I expected like a tiger on like 4 feet and stuff. I mean, it's a little different than what I expected, but I really hope that just because it's known as a wrestling Pokemon, I really hope they don't make it a fire and fighting type. I literally said in my video, please don't make it a fire and fighting type. Like, if you can just say, oh yeah, it's a wrestler, so we have to make it fire and fighting, I'm gonna be very disappointed. So please don't make this a fire and fighting type Pokemon. I think I heard somewhere that they're actually making it a fire and dark Pokemon supposedly. So if that happens, I'm cool with that. Just don't make it a fire and fighting. And so yeah, pretty much from this entire leak, the thing that we got right was that the girl next to Ash is Mallow, who was shown to us, and that's pretty much the big thing that's leaning towards the credibility of this image. And that's pretty much all that we can get from this image. The next leak that I want to talk to you guys about is called the Chinese leak. and this was apparently made public on July 8th by a user named Cresselia on Smogon. And the Chinese post lacks timestamps, but this Chinese leak was supposedly posted on a Chinese forum 2 weeks before it was screen capped by a Hong Kong VGC player. And so the Chinese leak, it basically mentioned a couple of things, and the things that it got right was that it did mention how there was going to be a fire and poison type Pokemon that was going to be shown to us real soon. And that was right, because we did get Salandit revealed to us, which is a poison and fire type Pokemon. It also mentioned how Alola is not going to have any gyms, and that's pretty much true as well, because we saw in the August 1st trailer that came out on Monday that there isn't really any type of gyms in the Alola region. And the things that it kind of got right were it mentioned how something about like the logo diamonds allows a Pokemon to transform. We still don't know anything about the Z powers like that much. I mean, all we know is that we can use it once per battle, and there's a Z move for every single type. We don't really know like an in-depth analysis on these Z moves, so maybe that could be right. That's why it is on the kind of right part of this picture, because we don't know everything about those logo diamonds or those Z crystals, so it could be right. And for things that got wrong, there's nothing really that it completely got wrong. And so yeah, this was another leak that a lot of people were thinking about. And yeah, the next leak we need to talk about is called the Split Evos leak. And so this leak came out on July 5th by an anonymous poster. And yeah, so it basically talks about how Rockruff is basically going to have 4 evolutions, and that Rockruff, once it has learned Howl, you can choose to leave Rockruff by one of 4 cliffs, which there's going to be 1 cliff on each island, and overnight it will evolve when you return in the morning, and it's going to the evolved form is going to take up 1 Pokédex slot, but each island gives a different form with unique stats and typing. So it basically looks like Rockruff's evolution could have like different typings and stats depending on which one you choose. So you can get either a Rock and Dark one, a Rock and Fairy one, a Rock and Fighting one, or a Rock and Steel one. The next thing it mentions that, like Rockruff, the starters will also have multiple final evolutions, one when evolved during the day, one when evolved during the night. And it says, like Rockruff, they take up 1 Pokédex slot and will each have different types and stats and move pools. It also says that some old Pokemon found in Alola are different to those found in other regions, namely their markings and colors. For example, an Alolan Pidove is going to be pure white. It also says that Arbok and a few others have unique markings depending on capture region. 6 total variations: Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, Alola, and some old Pokemon's heights and weights are different when encountered in Alola. Their models have changed accordingly. For example, Dodrio are taller and have longer and thicker legs compared to other regions. And it also mentions how unique breeding instances have gone the way of the Doduo. They now hatch like any other Pokemon. Some old Pokemon stats have been changed / flipped. For example, Alolan Rapidash will have a better special attack than attack. Pokemon transferred from older gens or caught in other regions will maintain their stats and appearance. These are new variants, not new Pokemon, but they're designed to give players more variety. Bank transfers from Gen 6 will also transfer the same moves and same levels as based in X and Y and ORAS. No 7th gen moves are available to them except for the ones from TMs and HMs. Pokemon transferred from Virtual Console Red, Blue, Yellow, and Red, Blue, Yellow, and Gold, I think. I don't know why it says Gold. I think just Red, Blue, and Yellow. Will have Gen 5 typings and stats for those Pokemon. However, the move pools will be those from the X and Y ORAS, so not to disadvantage any Pokemon too much. Alright, so that's a lot of information that we just got from that one leak right there. And so basically, from all of that, it also talks about how Ash Greninja is in the game. There are no new Megas. It says there will be a new Stage 2 cat Pokemon, normal type when it is found in the wild, but a second type can be added to it via breeding. And it says breed with a fire type. Baby will be a normal and fire. It says breed with a grass type. Baby will be normal and grass. Comes with different markings and colors depending on which type. And it says Lily will have a Zygarde cell in her bag. And it says this is how you will get a 10% Zygarde around the 3rd gym. But it's really confusing because we just found out that there is no gym. So why does it say you were gonna get a 10% Zygarde around the 3rd gym? I don't know. So things that got right, nothing. There's nothing that's been right from this leak so far. things it kind of got right. Some Pokemon do have different marking stats and changes depending on their models and in the Alola region, so that was right. We do have different Sandslash, Ninetales. It mentions how a Pidov's going to be pure white, so I guess if we do see a Pidove being pure white, then that could lead some credibility towards these leaks. So I guess yeah, there's not really that much from this leak. And finally, the last leak on this on like the last relevant leak that a lot of people are talking about is called the Real Leaks leak, and it basically talks about how here are the real leaks: no gyms, more than one evolution for Rockruff, including a werewolf. Yungoose's evolution is fat and hairy. Time works differently in each Pokemon game version. New forms for old Pokemon, not like Megas, think like Shallows and Wormadam. Pokemon transferred from Virtual Console releases will have pre-gen 6 typing / stats. The Stone Bracelet has nothing to do with Synchro Evolution. Ash Greninja is in the game. The SS Ann appears in the game. Larger but not by much amount of brand new Pokemon than last generation. Looker, Cynthia, Blue, Zinnia, AZ, and Lance will all make appearances. Furfru's hair can be cut and changed in the new Ami. It also says some of the new forms for old Pokemon get new animations. While ones I know include the Abra line. Transferring through Bank was the only way to get some forms of old Pokemon. There is a flying type bird whose appearance changes by island. There is a 2-stage cat Pokemon that is normal when captured in the wild, will inherit the father's primary type. So this is basically matching the previous leak that talked about how, like, if you breed it with a fire type, it's gonna get a fire type with the baby. Then it talks about the new like the old Pokemon that are gonna get new typing. So it says Butterfree is going to be Bug and Psychic. Rattata will become the whole Rattata line is going to become Dark. Nidoqueen and Nidoking will become Poison Fighting. Ninetales will become Fire and Fairy. Growlithe, the whole Growlithe line will become a Water type. The Abra line will become Fighting, and the Doduo line will become Fighting and Flying. And then it also mentioned how it says beware of fake leaks. Mimikyu, like most Pika clones, keeps its Japanese name. So then some guy asked, what about the bear? And he said, there's a hint in my previous post. I'm not going to say the exact name to avoid comprising my sources. A lot of people will be disappointed though. So he said, beware of fake leaks. So he's kind of like, he gave us basically the name of that bear Pokemon in his post. So that was pretty clever, and that did turn out to be right. And Mimikyu did keep its Japanese name. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this leak, and this seems to be the most credible leak to me, besides that image. I don't think you can get anything closer to the image because that's an actual image. This is just text. Anyone can make text, but it says right here things it got right. The no gyms, so there is no gyms in this region. Yungoose's evolution being fat and hairy. Yes, we saw Gumshoe's, it is fat and hairy. New forms for old Pokemon, so that is true. We saw the Sandslash, we saw the Ninetales, we saw the Exeggutor. We are getting new forms for old Pokemon. The flying type bird Pokemon whose appearance changes by island. We saw Oricorio, and we saw those 4 different forms. Now it's getting really, really credible. It's saying the names of Mimikyu and Beware, which it gave us in those posts, and those names are true. So there you go, guys. A lot of stuff from this leak is right. The things that got kinda right, there's nothing that it got kinda right, but something it did get wrong was it said Ninetales' Alola form typing was going to be a Fire and Fairy type, and that is incorrect. It is an Ice and Fairy type. We saw that in the trailer. But obviously, if this person is getting, their sources from somewhere else, there could be a loss in translation or something that, just they couldn't exactly see it or something. But they did get a lot of this information that was shown to us in the trailer pretty close and accurate. So there's a lot of things here. I mean, we've always gotten leaks for Pokemon games ahead of time, but we can't really just think about which ones could be real and which ones could be false. The one that I think is definitely the most credible has to be the concept art one that we just saw. That image is so, it's so accurate to what Mallow looks like that I think that's definitely just what the starters are going to look like. Maybe those designs are just kind of prototypes as to what they might look like, and they'll still look like that, but they won't look exactly like those images. Maybe they'll look a little different. The next leak would probably be have to be this one right here, the Real Leaks leak. A lot of stuff from there is accurate, and yeah, so if we see Pokemon now in the next trailers that come in the future, if we see any of these Pokemon get Alola typings, and if we get see them get these typings that are shown here, then we can, you know, think about this leak being really credible. I mean, you know, if we see a Butterfree, if we see Rattata, if we see Growlithe, if we see any of these types of Pokemon get the Alola forms and they actually turn into these types that they show here, then that will make this leak very credible. And so yeah, before I go here, I just want to mention that we always do get leaks in Pokemon games. So now, just because we get these leaks, any other leaks that come out in the future, doesn't mean you guys should trust them right away. I'm actually going to show you guys a leak that I read on when X and Y was close to coming out. So I'm going to show you guys that leak right here. So here's a leak that came out before X and Y was coming out, and I want you guys to see, because this is really close to what the Sun and Moon leaks are like too. So let me just quickly go over what it says. So it says, Fairy will be a new type. It is weak to poison and steel, immune to dragon, super effective against dragon, dark, and fighting, and fire and psychic type Pokemon will take half damage from it. Sylveon is a fairy type. Some older Pokemon will also be reclassified to fairy, such as Mawile. Mewtwo has 2 new forms, not just one, and both are activated via items. The professor's English name is Patrice. Although it's not the name of the tree, it's the masculine French name and sounds kind of like a Patrice. The starter final evolutions are going to be Fire Psychic, Grass Fighting, and Water Dark. The first gym is Bug, the second is Fairy, the fourth is Fighting. A few attacks will be dual typed. There will be a new type of battling style, Sky Battles, that flying type Pokemon and Pokemon with Levitate can participate in. You will be able to see a Pokemon's IV at a certain in-game facility. You will be able to boost the EVs, my bad. You will be able to boost the EVs through mini games. It will take about 2 hours to get 1 stat to max EVs. New move Belch is a poison type attack with a base power of 120, but can be performed if the user is holding a berry and the attack will consume the said berry. A new move called Draining Kiss, which is a fairy type attack, has a base power of 60 and heals the user for the same amount that it damages the enemy for. So there you go, look at that leak right there. So a lot of that leak was true in X and Y, but look at how much of that was false as well. You know, there's so many things that was false in that leak and so many things that were true. So that's exactly what I'm trying to get at in this leak for Sun and Moon. You know, there's probably a lot of things that are true, like we saw for Solandit and stuff like that, but there's probably things that are false. You know, we already know that in X and Y, the first gym was Bug, but the second one was not Fairy. It wasn't Fairy till like 6th gym, I think, or something like that. You know, Draining Kiss does not give you the same amount of damage that you did. It doesn't give you that much health back. I think it only gives you like 75% of your health back. It mentioned how the professor's English name is Patrice. No, it's Sycamore. So see, it got some of those things wrong, but it also got things right, like how Fairy will be weak to poison and steel, and how only fire type will take half damage from it, and how it's super effective against dragon, dark, and fighting. So you can see how a lot of things were true, but a lot of things were false as well. So that's what I'm saying for these leaks over here for Pokemon Sun and Moon as well. You know, a few things might be true here and there, but you can't just think that everything you see is going to be true. So yeah, I just want to let you guys know on all of these leaks. I think that the starter evolutions are probably confirmed by now. They're pretty close to being they're so close to being accurate. I think that Mallow's description was so spot on that I would be surprised if they don't look like that. The Real Leaks leak is very convincing as well. A lot of stuff from that leak was accurate, so I guess we'll just have to see what comes out of that leak, and if any of the other information that we get in the future matches this leak, then we can bump up its credibility. But yeah, let me know what are your thoughts on these leaks, guys. Do you guys buy them? Do you guys think that these Pokemon are actually gonna that the starter Pokemon are actually gonna look like this? Do you actually think that Rockruff is gonna have 4 different evolutions? Definitely let me know what are your thoughts on all of these leaks down in the comment section below. And as always, if you guys like this video, be sure to click that like button because it really does help me out. And if you're hyped for Pokemon Sun and Moon like I am and want more Pokemon Sun and Moon content on this channel, be sure to click that subscribe button for more Pokemon Sun and Moon content and other Nintendo games as well. Thank you so much for watching.